Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and October 10th, I was just made aware of, while I was out doing my training for my new job today, that it is World Mental Health Awareness Day. And you all know how I feel about mental health, so I'm going to take just a little bit today to talk about that. And what I just rolled for the soundtrack choice was, I mean, I should probably just take it as player's choice, but you know what? It's Mental Health Day, so yeah, I'm just gonna use. We're gonna use the King's Privilege. Calling it now. Alright, as far as what we're going to be, what sort of run we're going to be doing today. Today we're going for a comfy run. And when I say comfy run, I mean I'm going for something that is just nice. It's just nice and simple. We're not going to necessarily go out of our way to create trouble for ourselves. This isn't going to be a super challenging run. On the contrary, this is going to be something that is just a simple one. We're going to take a step back, and we're just going to do something to enjoy ourselves with. The reason for that is, as I've already said, it is Mental Health Day, which means I wanted to talk just a little bit about the importance of not just taking care of, your problems and things like that, but also just taking good care of yourself. And that is something that, unfortunately, in our daily lives, we don't get a lot of time for. It's almost like taking care of yourself is something that's looked down upon, and that's just sad and very much wrong. What else is wrong is me having a hard time deciding how I want to run this. There we go. This seems like the perfect blend between coverage and strength. And I think we'll even make it a captain's ring run. Something nice and simple. That also means that, unlike I've been doing on the regular, I'm probably not going to take a cursed lobby relic, because like I said, this is just going to be a cozy run, because I am not necessarily out here looking to push myself in a bunch of different directions. No, we're just going to have some fun. Now, hopefully you guys don't have a huge problem with that, as it's been a while and I've been going out of my way to challenge myself, but so what prompted me to decide that I wanted to talk about this? As I said, I figured this out while I was out doing my training for my new position, and strangely enough, it just ended up coming up because I noticed it written, not necessarily on the bathroom wall. There was a poster. There was a poster talking about it. It wasn't just like something that was graffitied on the bathroom wall or anything. But it had brought up the idea of National Mental Health Day, And that sort of brought up the idea. And as many of you who have been watching my channel know, I do suffer from some mental health problems. And more specifically, I suffer from a lovely little cocktail of general anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder. So I get all of it. Now, those of you out there who deal with only one of those have it bad enough, but dealing with both is far from what I would call entertaining. The drink of choice today is actually zero sugar cherry 7-Up. So it comes and with the world being in the place that it's at right now, where everything is so much more stressful than it used to be. So much. Pardon me. Yeah, it's just not the landscape. The landscape for our own health right now is more difficult than it ever used to be. With how difficult the world is to navigate. Alright, so I would love to be able to diversify my Arcana choices. I'm throwing out too many, have any really good relics either. But I am going to try something a little different. There we go. Oh, look at that. Token of health, so we can take advantage of one of Dr. Song's relics, too. That's perfect. But let's be fair, there are far more things out there that affects one's mental health than just, major depressive disorder or general anxiety disorder. Because that's when you start talking about some of the really big ones, well, it's not to say that those are small, but when I say big ones, I'm talking things like, schizophrenia, or really bad cases of bipolar disorder. There's a lot out there that can just wreck a person's brain. And that's not even to say that, what I have, or what people like me have to deal with is anything small. Because I have plenty of examples where I could talk about days where I've often said to myself, I'm not good enough, or I'm doing this wrong, or I'm doing that wrong. I don't deserve such and such. And I know there's a number of you out there, bless your hearts, who say that sounds That almost sounds like imposter syndrome. And yeah, there's a part of me that would definitely agree with you. But imagine having that at all times of the day. Like, you're always questioning yourself, you're always second guessing yourself. You feel as though you're never good enough for anything. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about. It's not something that goes away, it's just always there, and you always have to find ways to not only understand that it is essentially your faulty brain playing tricks on you, but you also have to be able to recognize that and find ways to fight it. And there are ways to fight it, don't get me wrong. And it's usually something in the form of, like, the things that I tend to use the most when it comes time to handle a bad anxiety attack is usually things like, you know, having an object there that you can, like, squeeze or touch to help you calm yourself down, as having a self-soothing object. And let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. That's not meant to be taken out of context as, like, something really dirty, but if for some reason it makes you feel better to look at it in that context, honestly, I would say there's nothing wrong with that. Doctor. More quick over. Diversifying what I already have. I don't have enough for the Idealist scorecard, but honestly, I think I'll be okay with that. Fortunately, I can say that. What is this? Pulling flow? Yeah, I'll probably end up getting rid of that. But while I have it, it does count as something to help towards making the captain's ring stronger. And while I have it, I might as well make use of it. And I'll just be perfectly straight up honest with you all. I grew up during the time where, not the time, but grammatically, is that correct? Is that incorrect? Not sure that matters right now. But I grew up during a time where mental health was certainly something that wasn't very well understood, and And it was very easy to be like, oh, it's all just in your head, grow up. Or it was just considered you're just really sad, you'll get over it. And that's just not what mental health is. That's just not what mental health problems is. Or are, I should say. There's so many things here that are good, but... There we go. That's the only one that maximizes the captain's rate. Honestly, the only thing here that's really that good is Double Trouble, and for the sake of what I'm doing, I'm not sure it's worth grabbing. That's okay. Tapping Glove is kind of worth it. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to take it. Now, normally I wouldn't, because I would say, you know, guys, it's just too easy to get overwhelmed and beaten down. And, you know, if this were just one of my usual runs, I would say, yeah, that's... I would say, yeah, that's definitely the case. But we do have a couple of really good... We have a couple of good defensive relics that have been helping out quite a bit over the last... And... let's face it, there's nothing better for your mental health than accepting that you don't need to be perfect all the time. Because it's by learning to... One of the things that really helps when you're struggling with your mental health is to not only learn to accept defeat gracefully, which I know doesn't sound like the most appropriate way to look at it, but it's also in the idea that by accepting and loving yourself, you are doing more for your own mental health than you're understanding. Because it goes from being like, I'm such a problem, why am I doing this wrong, why am I doing that wrong? It's okay if I mess up, because it will teach me how to do better in the near future. Or just in the future in general. I know that doesn't necessarily help everyone's outlook on things, but hopefully it's one of those things that can help enough people. And that should also feed back into what I was saying before, which is for a lot of us, and I would say for most people suffering from mental health, the issue isn't necessarily that, oh, I just feel sad or whatever. It's not just something that exists like in your head as like as just like a thing, as like an excuse to not get things done. God damn. And that's part of what I was getting at when I was saying that taking the item might have been a bit of a mistake. And you know, that is okay. We all know that there are some rooms that are just more difficult than others. And again, that's okay. I keep getting distracted while I'm trying to make my point here, which is that it's not just something that exists just in our head, something that we made up for like a pity. It is an actual, it's an actual disease. It's an actual problem. It's a brain chemical imbalance that does all sorts of horrible things to us. Quite frankly, that's a really old and toxic mindset to begin with, but it is one that does exist. There's still plenty of people out there who don't really understand what mental health problems really are, or for that matter, how to deal with or define them. I'm not here to try to define mental health problems. Because, quite frankly, that's a difficult enough prospect. I mean, I guess I'll pick it up. I guess I'll also sell it to you. Here we go. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that real mental health problems are more than just, feeling sad or having a lack of confidence. They are real, tangible problems, and there are lots of people that go through things that's I'm sure we're all tired of seeing ads for better health, but there's a reason why that even exists. BetterHelp exists because there's just a lot of people out there that really could use some help. They could use someone to talk to. They could use a professional to help set them straight. And even if all they get is something like, here's some breathing techniques that have been proven to help put your mind in a better place. Like, that is precise. That might be precisely what someone needs. Even if you're someone like me, who those breathing techniques don't necessarily have a strong effect on, it's better to have that information than not, because, frankly, sometimes you just need that. Some people just don't have access to the information or education about that when they need it. And I know what you might be thinking right now, but no, I was not contacted by anyone to talk about that or bring it up in any sort of light. I'm just talking about it. That is because talking about mental health and mental health awareness is very important. And I've said as much before on past episodes. I really feel like having a frank and open discussion about mental health is an important thing for us to be doing. Because our mental health is just as important, if not perhaps even a little bit more important than our physical. I say that without a shred of hyperbole, because, quite frankly, it's like when you have a cold or you catch the flu or something like that, it's easy for people to see what's wrong. It is not easy to detect when there's a mental health problem or a mental health emergency. That's part of the reason why I've been so staunch in advocating for recognizing mental health problems. And yeah, you could say that a lot of that really started when I was diagnosed with problems that I have. But I think that's also quite dismissive of when people actually are. That's quite dismissive of people who suffer about those things without knowing about it. So no, it's not just because it personally inconveniences me. It's a problem that people everywhere have to deal with. It would be real rude of me to simply dismiss that as just a, oh, well, it's important. No, it's only important now because it affects me personally. That is not only a super simplification of the point, but it also isn't exactly true. Like, the entire reason why people wanted to, or the entire reason why I know that I have these issues, is because someone spotted the symptoms of it in me, and they said, hey, you know what, maybe you should go to the doctor. That says to me that not only are these real problems, but there are people that care about them and are going and want to do something to help them with these problems. That was not smart. And let's look at this in an even more pragmatic light. If mental health is an important enough deal and if it's something important enough to talk about that, you know, that big businesses are, you know, putting it on their shithouse walls, it must be something worth paying attention to. Catching my attention, but well, except for that. Pardon me. Like I said, this episode was pretty much strictly designed to give me a chance to talk about these things, and as well as their importance, because, like I said, if big companies and organizations are in understanding that this is something that really needs to be spoken about. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by trying to just, you know, survive. Yeah, if big companies and organizations agree that this is something worth talking about, then who would I be to say otherwise? Not just because it affects me personally, but because it's worth talking about. Let's be fair, it's a solution that can very well there very, very well not be a permanent solution for, but there is at least some solace out there in the idea that there are people that care enough to want to make it, that want to have the discussion, want to try to make things better for not just those of us who are suffering, but for those of us who want to understand. And I think that's one of the most important takeaways from all of this is that there are people out there that don't just use their mental health as an excuse, but want to actually be a part of the conversation and understand what exactly is happening. That, I think, is the biggest takeaway of all from this October 10th is World Mental Health Awareness Day. The idea that there are people out there that care and people out there that want to do something. Owie. And there we go. So hopefully none of you have to put up with such severe problems in your life as really crippling and debilitating mental health problems, I hope all of you out there have a chance to just talk and get the help that you need. But I want you to understand that if you don't have someone to talk to, at the very least, understand that you can come to me. I understand how mental health problems work. Obviously, I put up with it on a daily basis. And if you need someone to talk to me. I might just be a loudmouth YouTube idiot who just runs his mouth and you know likes to say poop on the internet a lot, but at the very least, know that you have someone to talk to when your problems start to feel crushing, when they start to feel overwhelming, when they start to feel overpowering, and you have no control over yourself. Understand that there is always someone that you can turn to. And if you know someone who goes through those problems, call them up. Let them know what's going on. Just sit down and say, hey, how are you doing? It doesn't take much. Sometimes something simple like, hey, I feel for you, or hey, how are you doing? I know you've been having problems. Or just simply say, we may not talk very often, but I want you to know that I love you. Those are maybe the strongest words you can utter to someone who has problems like mine, and they may very well save a life. So, that's it. No plugs for myself, nothing like that today. I want you all to understand that I appreciate the time that you give to spend time with me, and especially when I'm going through something like I'm doing today that just seems completely, self-congratulatory. And trust me, that's not the case. This is me at my most open right now. I suffer through a lot of crap, but through it all, I've learned that even though my community is small, that I have some really good people here in it, and I just want to thank you because this does help me get through my problems, and I appreciate each and every one of you. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I'll be seeing you.